Hey, everybody. I want to talk quickly today about why a draw for a senior level agency recruiter does not make any sense for a producing agency recruiter. So, one of the things about a draw is when you're first getting started, it protects your downside and it puts you in an equation where, let's say, you have a 50K draw, you can account on a certain level money every month. But in exchange, you earn 50% commissions. So for somebody starting in the business, a draw or a base, it's a great formula because they need to learn. They need to figure out how to get clients, how to get recruiters. They need to learn from other people. Well, for a senior level person, the 50K draw becomes absolutely meaningless. Let me take the example of somebody that bills $300,000 a year. If somebody bills 300,000 a year at 50% commissions, they take home 150,000. If they do that 3 years in a row, and they bill 3 years in a row 300 grand and take home 150, then they you have to look at the draw as completely meaningless because you actually bill through the 50K draw in Q1. So a senior level recruiters are starting to look at that and say, wait a second, I liked the draw because it protected my downside, but now it's starting to cost me all my upside. And it has to make you think, is betting against myself with a draw, because in a sense a draw is betting against yourself and protecting your downside, versus betting on yourself and betting on the upside. So the problem is when you bet against yourself and you protect your downside, you limit all your upside. One of the things that I like to talk about is someone that does 300,000 in the Frederick Fox model would earn $260,000, not $150,000. It's an astronomical increase to go to 80% commissions. What I often hear is, well, you don't give me benefits. When you take a look at benefits, they're really what an employer provides is about $3,000 a year in benefits. So if we're looking at the difference between 150,000 and 260,000 for the same level of activity and complexity, uh, it's still an extremely good deal. Well, then you start to break down the tools. The tools for a recruiter are around $1,000 a month on the top side. So call that an extra $12,000. So that 260,000 now becomes 257,000, now becomes 247,000. So let me ask you, do you want to make 150 grand where you blow through your draw within the first quarter of the year next year? Or do you want to consider the 80% where you're more than almost close to doubling your income? I like to think of it in an analogy of breaking the crazy cycle. If you can't buy a house because you rent, and you rent because you can't buy a house, you're in a catch 22. At some point you have to flip the formula on itself and you have to risk and try a different equation. So let me say that again. If you can't buy because you rent and you rent because you can't buy, you're always going to be stuck in the same equation. So I think what a lot of senior recruiters are coming to is I need to change the equation I'm in, especially because I know what I'm doing and I'm ready to bet on myself and I'm ready to do more with my time and not have to do this corporate environment that I've been in. And that, my friends, is why a draw is meaningless for a senior executive recruiter.